everyone, welcome back to the homestead. Look at these beautiful fall colors. The oaks especially are so beautiful right now. And it's actually pretty warm out right now, but we do have a storm rolling in and it's supposed to really get cold later in the week. So for today's farm to table meal, it's actually more of a breakfast or lunch type meal, but our cook stove's not going because we had a really warm night last night. So we're gonna fire that up here in a little bit. And so this meal will either be for our lunchtime or dinner time meal. I'm just gonna make a pretty easy egg bake. I'm gonna add some rosemary, some chopped and cooked kale from the garden, which I already gathered because I knew a storm was on the way, so I gathered that up this morning. Then I'll also probably crush some fresh garlic to put in there, and it'll be very simple, just eggs, some greens, some spices, and I'll bake that in the oven. And then on the side, I thought I would make some fresh tomato soup. We still have some tomatoes that have been ripening inside, and they are ready to use. Haven't made tomato soup in years, and we don't have any cream right now. I would love to make it a creamy tomato soup, but for today, to keep it just our farm to table meal, I'm just gonna cook and use a stick blender to blend up tomatoes, and I'll probably also put some onions in there and some basil, a little salt, maybe some pepper, and that'll be about it for the tomato soup. So if you've watched our other farm to table meal videos, you're probably starting to realize a theme here. We use eggs quite a bit and vegetables. I was thinking of throwing in some black beans to change it up, but I think I might save that for a later meal. And we do have birds that we can harvest on the homestead. We just really don't like to process animals at all. And so we just put it off. But we have about 30 birds on our homestead right now that need to be culled. So maybe in the next farm to table meal, we'll actually have some meat to include. But for today, we're sticking to eggs and veggies, and I guess tomato, technically fruit. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy that. In the meantime, until we get to that meal, I wanted to just talk real quick about a topic that I thought might be fun for some of you moms out there. Something that's really important for our health, and that's exercise. I have struggled with the days being so full, caring for 7 children, a home-based business, homeschooling, building a home and homestead. There's just so much on my plate. And I'm sure many of you can relate. It can be difficult to squeeze in exercise when your days are so full. And often I'm just moving all the time, and so I already kind of feel like I've been exercising. But sometimes my daily activities don't really get my heart rate up. Not really doing anything for resistance training to get my muscles stronger. So I've come up with just a really simple routine that only takes about 10 minutes, and I try to work it into my mornings whenever I can. I don't get to it every morning, but whenever I possibly can, I try and squeeze this in. So I thought I'd share that with all of you. Maybe it'll encourage you that exercise can really be quite simple, quite fast, and it doesn't require any kind of special equipment. So here's what I like to do. I rotate through exercises that I can do for about 40 seconds, and it gets my heart rate up, really works my muscles, and then I rest for about 20 seconds. So some of the things I like to do are push-ups. And I do these not on the ground, I just do them against a wall or a counter. If I can't go outside, I'll use the counter, and I'll just use some pot holders against the edge of the counter to protect my hands. And this is how Esther does push-ups. You doing it too, Abby? All right, way to go. How many has he done so far? 23? Hey, that's funny, Biddle. Guess this is how Josh does push-ups. Save by the dogs.
She just could not handle it anymore. Yeah. You had to get in there.
This is how Kip does push-ups. Is that fun? So push-ups is one of them. I like to do squats. I try to get up to 25 at least, and I'm just gonna keep on building. The stronger I get, hopefully the more of these I can do. Another one I like to do is jumping jacks. It can be something done inside, outside, doesn't take any equipment. So I like to do at least 40 to 50 jumping jacks as fast as I can. That takes about 40 seconds, and then I break. Like I said, in between each of these, I rest for about 20 seconds. Another one I like to do is just, I don't even know what it's called, but I kind of swing my arms wide, lift up all my legs, alternating back and forth, and just do that kind of as quick as I can. So the idea is to do things that are intense and or can build muscle through resistance. So there are just so many other things you can do. Those 4 things are the things I do most. So I kind of just alternate through them up to about 10 minutes time. You can also just run really fast in place. You could do lunges, you could do up, downs, burpees. There's just all sorts of different things, but I like to keep it really simple. So one way I fit this into my routine in the morning is often when I make pancakes, which I do at least a couple times a week. While I'm waiting to flip the pancakes, I'll go back and forth doing these. If I'm able to get up before all the children, I'll come outside and do it really quick outside before I even start breakfast or anything. Sometimes I just squeeze it in while I'm waiting for my dishwater to cool down. I often get it too hot, and so I'll step outside real quick and do it while my dishwater's cooling down a little bit. And like I said, you can do this inside or out. My favorite place is out here in the garden. We've got some pathways here that makes it really easy place for me to do it. But when the weather's bad, especially as winter's coming on, I'll be doing it in the kitchen area more often, and it works just the same in there. It's a little harder to do some of the activities that require more movement inside, so I'll have to keep it more so to push-ups and squats. But anyway, just wanted to encourage you that exercising does not have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take a long time, and just staying consistent with something like I just shared with you can make you feel so much better. I can't tell you how much more energy I've had since I've been consistent with this, just 10 minutes once a day as often as I can. And I just have one more quick encouragement about exercise. Don't be afraid to act like a child. And what I mean by that is, you know how children will, throughout the day, when they get excited or they want to go somewhere and do something, they'll often jump up and down for joy, they'll spin in circles, they'll do jumping jacks, they'll skip off somewhere or run to the next thing that they're doing. Healthy children throughout the day are typically constantly moving and doing these just bursts of energy that are so good for the health, especially if you're joyful while you're doing it. So then we grow up, and as adults we kind of feel silly, like someone might see us if we do something like that. But don't be afraid to just jump for joy once in a while. Skip to the mailbox. Don't be afraid to act on your joy or excitement over something. It's okay, and it's actually really healthy to do that. So I encourage you to watch your children and be inspired by them, and hopefully you'll be able to get little bursts of exercise throughout the day that way as well. With that, I'm gonna head inside, get some dishes done, and see if I can find someone to start our fire in the cook stove so we can get on with this farm to table meal. Just found another tomato in the greenhouse here that's blushing, so I'm gonna take that inside. So far this seems to have been a good idea. Some of the tomatoes are really wrinkly, they don't look like they're gonna make it, but I've already gathered quite a few tomatoes that have ripened up here in the greenhouse, and hopefully more will ripen as well. Oh, looks like there's a couple more that are really close right there. They're just almost blushing there. And if you don't know, once a tomato starts blushing, when it starts to get just a little bit of its color, you can go ahead and pick it because it's got what it needs inside of it to fully ripen. So I'll often do that just to prevent bugs or splitting, that sort of thing. So very rarely do I let a tomato stay on the vine till it's fully colored. The greens in the greenhouse here are jamming. We're gonna have lots of salads in the days ahead. Oh, just found another one. Got a little bit of color here, so I think I'm going to take that inside as well. For those who missed the video on preparing for frost, this was one thing that we did to prepare for our first hard frost, is we gathered up a bunch of our green tomatoes, just cut them off of the vines and hung the vines in here in our greenhouse in hopes that they would continue to ripen. I'm really glad we did that. We've been getting quite a few tomatoes this way that we would have otherwise lost to the frost. All right, back inside to finish dishes. Oh, and here comes the rain. Quick update on the turnips. They survived the hard frost. There's a little bit of frost damage, but they have since put on new growth and looks like they're gonna be just fine. Thank you to the person who commented about turnips, that they can actually survive down to about 19 or 20 degrees Fahrenheit just fine without cover. So for those of us who have limited garden space where we have covers, row covers, it's good to know that you can plant some things outside of those covers and they'll survive well into the fall and likely be ready to harvest before it gets too cold for them. Caleb's getting the fire going again. Thanks, Caleb. Are you helping? Remember to stay back once he starts the fire though, huh? Because it's hot. So this is our last bouquet of the season, guys, and I'm really wondering if I don't know if you can see this. See all those roots? This is from chocolate mint and mountain mint. And this bouquet has been going for about 3 weeks now. I have taken out a few flowers that kind of got old and popped in a couple new ones, but it's mostly all the same flowers from the very beginning. And I'm wondering if the peppermint is doing something to the water to help the flowers last longer. If any of you know if that's the case, can you please comment below, because it's pretty cool. I'm glad our last bouquet of the season is lasting so long. Alright, so Esther Pie was my taste tester for the tomato soup, and she thought it needed garlic, so we added some garlic to it as well, and it's much better that way, huh?
I think so.
Uh-huh. How you girls like the homemade tomato soup?
I like it. It's super hot.
You like it? Is it super hot still? Yeah, be careful, blow it.
No, super.
You can tell how uneven our oven cooks, guys. Look at that. But that's okay, it looks yummy. Ready to eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ready to eat?
Yeah.
Ready to eat?
Yep.
Ready to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Ready to eat?
Yeah.
Careful, it's
Thank
hot.
you, Mama.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on the homestead again today. As always, thank you to our patrons who make these videos possible. You're awesome. Hey, if you haven't subscribed and you like our videos, please hit the subscribe button below. And until next time, we pray blessings over you and yours. And whatever you do, do it with your whole heart.